And we're back. Thanks for joining us. We hope that you've been getting something from these conversations. This is actually my blood is getting a little hot right now. I'm getting a little pissed. And in the last segment, we talked about how this book here, Punisher #1, as good as it is, kind of encapsulates all the problems I have with Marvel right now.
Just let me, before you go on. For as good as this is, you are right. Like, this is, I thought that this was a good book. Now, on some, because I'm very bored late at night at 2 in the morning, I like to click on other stuff that's linked to our videos.
The common
and
videos.
There's a couple of people who review this, or like people who make comments on their boards, or people who review this. For some reason, people didn't like this book, and I don't get that, because I don't know. And again, like it really pleases me when we get comments like, you know, I'm glad you guys are talking about this because nobody else is talking about this. I mean, and that's kind of what I like. And what I don't understand is, all right, I'm sorry, I was gonna say some pretty bad stuff about other stuff that I've seen, and I don't want to talk bad about other vodcasts or whatever you want to call them on YouTube, because I just don't want to get into that right now. But it really angers me when people. We have a lot of differing opinions on here, and it seems like everything that I watch on there, everyone's opinion is the exact opposite of ours.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I understand that everyone has their own opinion, but everybody else's is the same. You know, to me,
right.
everyone's opinion out there on these shows or whatever, they all seem the same to me, and it just doesn't seem that anyone's speaking their mind about really what's going on, and that might be why Jeph Loeb is selling hundreds of thousands of copies of books, because everyone's told that Jeph Loeb is the best writer out there right now, and I'm the only one that doesn't get it.
You're crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like Invaders of the Body Snatchers type of thing, or the episode of Angel where Fred was like the only person who wasn't under what's her name's
Glory,
or not? Wasn't Glory.
No. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
the Gina Torres character. Yeah.
About like how like she actually saw really what she was,
right,
and nobody
right.
else did, because everyone else was under her
right.
spell or whatever.
Right.
That's kind of what I feel like sometimes. I'm like, am I the only one who feels this way? And I know I'm not, because people who I talk to in the shop and friends that I know actually all have the same opinions, but those opinions don't seem to be out there anywhere.
Right. Well, and then which goes back to what's going on right now with Marvel, where is. You know, you have Jeph Loeb and many writers right now who are very en vogue, and they are the hot names, and what they're doing is selling, and Marvel is feeding into that kind of mania where you've got to get this book, you've got to get that, so-and-so's doing this, and, okay, let me pose this to our viewers. Jose, we're talking about this before we even started recording. If you had to pay to watch Heroes every week, would you pay to watch it? Because you see, Heroes right now has until he got kicked off the show, had Jeph Loeb's name attached to it, and had a few other folks who are in comics with their names attached to it, and yet the viewership for that show is dropping. So it seems like a lot of fans of the genre don't seem to have a hard time not watching the show anymore. Would you pay for it if you had to? Now, if you had to pay for it, would you keep watching it because you know you're paying for it? Because it seems like the Marvel zombies out there, who I used to be very proud of being among them, will buy this and keep buying it. And Joe Quesada and the folks at Marvel know that. They know that people are going to buy it and keep buying it. The mentality behind that astounds me.
Well,
people won't watch Heroes, and yet they can see it for free. You would think that something like Heroes, the viewership would increase, and things like these Marvel books that are kind of gouging their customers, the readership should drop because you're paying for it, and yet the inverse seems to be true.
Right, but I think that it's not a slight on comic book fans at all. But I really think that comic book fans are creatures of habit, and that they will follow their character from book to book, no matter what the price is, because I just think that's what they're gonna do. And And there was like 2 or 3 years in the 90s where I bought every issue of Uncanny X-Men. I'd bought Uncanny X-Men from the 80s. And then in the 90s, it started getting really shitty. But you know what? I kept buying it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't read them for like 2 or 3 years. And then I finally,
okay.
I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I haven't read this book in 3 years, but I'm still buying it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to stop. But I just think that it's one of those things that it's out of habit. People just do it. If it's in your club, if you go and you have a club service at your local comic shop and you go there and they give you your stack, whatever's in there, you're just probably going to buy it.
Right.
Because it does take effort to put something back and not, just not buy it anymore.
Then you have that big hole in your collection.
Exactly.
You have so many that you've bought up to a certain point, and then suddenly it stops. And then, would you find it hard to pick up that book again, like let's say 7 months down the line? Mm-hmm. Would you be able to start again? Or would you be like, oh no, now I'm going to have this huge hole in my collection?
See, it depends. Like, if now I'm at the point where, I talked about this, I bought like all of the Rust in Peace Batman, right? Mm-hmm. But the last part that came out angered me so much I didn't buy it. But I bought the next issue of Batman after that, because or the one that Batman that came out, because it was the second part to a Denny O'Neil story that started in the Detective, and I bought that, so now I'm missing like two issues in my Batman run. But it doesn't bother me anymore but I will come back to a book if there are creators on there that will get me to come back on there because. If they're creators that I like, chances are that once they leave that book, I'm going to be leaving that book again too.
Right. Well, that's good. I have a new term. You're no longer Marvel zombies. You're Marvel junkies.
Or chumps.
We'll see you in the next segment.